Germany's got big plans for its armed forces. 460,000 soldiers. Hundreds of tanks. Modern air power. A powerful navy. Germany is gearing up massively.
NATO can rely on Germany.
Military spending is skyrocketing.
In der Tat die 5%, die Präsident Trump gefordert hat. Wir folgen ihm da.
Friedrich Merz is not playing around.
Die Bundesregierung wird zukünftig alle finanziellen Mittel zur Verfügung stellen, die die Bundeswehr braucht, um konventionell zur stärksten Armee Europas zu werden.
Well, that's the idea, but the reality looks a bit different though. But first things first. Germany is getting serious about defense spending. It all started 3 years ago, with that now famous €100 billion special fund. And now, things have kicked up another gear. Germany's debt brake, the rule that normally limits government borrowing, has been lifted for defense. Which basically means everything Germany spends above 1% of GDP on the military can now be borrowed. And that's a first in German recent history. And the big question is, how high could this really go? Based on 2024 figures, Germany is already the 4th largest defense spender in the world. Right behind the US, China, and Russia. Now, with NATO's target likely going up from 2% to 3.5%, that would double Germany's defense budget, and even put it ahead of Russia. The defense minister Boris Pistorius has hinted that 3.5% might not even be enough, and that he's open to pushing it all the way to Trump's 5%. This would mean that based on 2024 figures, Germany would spend around $234 billion a year on defense. A quarter of what the US spends, but way more than Russia and any of its European allies. For context, in 2024, the UK spent about $80 billion and France $65 billion. So, does that mean Germany is back? Could it really become the strongest conventional military in Europe, like CDU leader Friedrich Merz recently promised? Well, to be honest, money isn't everything. So in this video, we're going to break it all down. We will look at Germany's land power, manpower, air power, and naval strength, and see how it actually compares to its European allies. And then, at the end of the video, we can determine whether Germany is really on track to become the dominant force in Europe. Let's start with Germany's land power. Right now, Germany has 3 army divisions, each with around 20,000 soldiers, broken down into a total of 12 brigades, 8 German ones, 1 shared with France, and 3 integrated Dutch ones. And in 2022, Chancellor Olaf Scholz made a very big promise. Germany would provide 2 fully equipped and combat-ready divisions to NATO. One called Division 2025, ready by, you guessed it, 2025. Which includes a new permanent brigade in Lithuania. And one called Division 2027, ready by 2027. But fast forward to today, and things are way off track. Yes, some progress has been made. Around 150 German troops are already in Lithuania. This is supposed to rise to 500 by the end of this year, and 5,000 by the end of 2027. But everything is running late, very late. In fact, none of Germany's 3 divisions, including the 2 promised to NATO, are actually ready for deployment. Far from it. According to military officials, they're only about 50% ready. That means a serious shortage of either troops, equipment, or both. Even worse, some defense experts say Division 2027 is currently only 20% equipped and will not be ready for many, many years. And it's actually gotten worse. Before the Ukraine war, readiness was at 65%. So instead of progress, it's gone backwards. Super embarrassing. And all this matters because Germany, alongside Poland, is supposed to be NATO's backbone for ground forces and the eastern flank, ready to respond first in the event of a Russian attack. And right now, Germany is simply not delivering. So what's actually missing? Surprisingly, it's not the tanks or armored vehicles. With the Leopard 2 and the Puma, Germany has modern, highly capable combat systems, easily among the very best in Europe. And when it comes to tank numbers, Germany sits somewhere in the middle of the park. They've got more than Italy and the UK, but still fewer than France, and way behind Poland. I mean, just look at Poland. Not only do they already outnumber Germany, they've also ordered over 1,000 more tanks for delivery by 2034. Very impressive. Now, Germany could, and arguably should, boost these vehicle numbers, but that's not the core issue. The real problem lies in everything around those tanks. One major issue is artillery, where Germany's army relies on howitzers as its primary firepower. Division 2025 operates the Panzerhaubitze 2000, a powerful but aging tracked howitzer. Division 2027, on the other hand, is supposed to field the newer wheeled RCH 155, a more mobile system. But both divisions face serious gaps. For Division 2025, the problem is simple. There just aren't enough howitzers. Many were donated to Ukraine, and others have been stripped for spare parts. Replacements likely won't arrive before 2027, leaving a critical hole in NATO's frontline force. Division 2027 is in even worse shape. It needs around 80 of the new howitzers, but not a single one has yet been procured. Based on this, the models are expected to be delivered between 2026 and 2031, potentially 4 years after the division is supposed to be ready. And if that wasn't bad enough, there's also an ammunition problem. For example, in 2023, Germany reportedly only had enough artillery shells for just 2 weeks of high-intensity combat. That would have had to be one hell of a blitzkrieg for it to be enough. But Germany has reacted, and together with its partners, they have signed a massive €8.5 billion deal with Rheinmetall to produce hundreds of thousands of shells, and by 2027, stockpiles should finally hit NATO-required levels. But there are also problems that are harder and take longer to fix, especially when it comes to enablers, like air defense systems. We're talking about protecting your skies, from missiles, drones, aircraft, or whatever's coming your way. At the moment, the Bundeswehr only operates 9 Patriot systems. That's a very steep drop from the 36 units they had during the Cold War. And it's not just the hardware. Back in 1990, Germany had nearly 11,000 personnel in its air defense forces. But today, that number has shrunk to just 2,300. And the result is rather embarrassing. Germany can currently only protect an area about the size of Berlin. Yeah, really not great if you're living in Frankfurt. But Germany does have a plan, and they're not doing it alone. It's called the European Sky Shield Initiative, or just ESSI. As of early 2025, 24 European countries have signed on. The goal is simple: to build a multi-layered air defense system that can handle pretty much anything. Different threats need different tools, so ESSI mixes and matches systems for each range. We got the German-made Sky Ranger 30 to shoot down drones and low-flying targets, and at the other end, the Israeli-made Arrow 3, designed to intercept intercontinental ballistic missiles. It's about having a full protective shield, not just for Germany, but for all of Europe. And when you look at the numbers, Germany is going big. They've already ordered a lot of this gear, and the final piece, the Arrow 3, is expected to be fully operational by 2030. But systems alone are not enough. They need people to operate them, and the Luftwaffe is running very low on personnel. In fact, the entire Bundeswehr is, which brings us to Germany's next big challenge: manpower. Right now, Germany has about 182,000 active troops and 40,000 in reserve. Sounds like a lot, but according to the defense minister Boris Pistorius, Germany would actually need around 460,000 personnel, including reservists, to reach full operational capability. So yeah, Germany, you're way off. And it gets worse. Troop numbers have declined compared to the last year, and nearly 1 in 4 soldiers quits within the first 6 months of joining. Why? Well, there's a whole range of issues. Military service in Germany just isn't seen as prestigious or an appealing career. It's not especially well paid either, and the career paths are sluggish, and promotions basically take forever. Then there's infrastructure. Some barracks and training facilities are in catastrophic condition. Think moldy walls, broken toilets, no heating, and leaking roofs. Decades of budget cuts and neglect have created a massive renovation backlog, and according to a recent parliamentary report, the Bundeswehr would need around 67 billion euros just to bring its buildings up to modern standards. So yeah, not a great look, and definitely not helping the Bundeswehr's image as an employer. Still though, the government wants to grow the force to 203,000 troops by 2031, but even that modest target feels very ambitious. One option they're considering is returning to military service. Germany scrapped conscription in 2011, moving to a fully professional army, back when large-scale war in Europe seemed unthinkable. Well, how things can change, right? A model being discussed is the Swedish approach. Survey young people on their willingness to serve and selectively call up those who say yes. The only problem, though? Only 17% of Germans say they'd be willing to defend the country if needed. Ouch, that's painfully low. If Germany really wants to rebuild its armed forces, some form of mandatory conscription might be unavoidable. Because right now, countries like France, and especially Poland, field way more active personnel, despite Germany having the largest population in the EU. But it's not all about manpower. Let's get into Germany's Air Force. Germany's Air Force currently operates 143 Eurofighter Typhoons and 89 Tornado jets. The Eurofighters are mainly focused for air policing and interception. They're fast, agile, and good in the air. But they're not really built for deep strike missions or flexible multi-role combat. Then you've got the Tornadoes, which handle ground attack and nuclear strike roles. But they're seriously outdated and set to retire in 2030. And here's the problem. Germany doesn't have a modern replacement ready yet. They've ordered 35 American F-35 jets for 10 billion euros, which are stealthy, multi-role, and designed to carry out NATO's nuclear sharing missions. But delivery won't start until 2026, and full operational capability isn't expected until 2030. So for the next few years, Germany will be flying with an aging, limited fleet, and simply lags behind France, UK, and Italy. And that's just the fighter side. When it comes to airlift, things aren't much better either. Germany owns about 40 A400M transport planes, but in 2024, only 6 of them were fully operational. That's barely enough for basic logistics, let alone rapid deployment. So instead, Germany has to often borrow transport capacity from allies like France, the US, or NATO. So yeah, Germany has quite a long road ahead to become the European leader when it comes to air power. Then lastly, there's naval power. Let's not sugarcoat it. The Deutsche Marine is seriously limited, especially compared to its French, British, or Italian counterparts. Right now, Germany only has 11 frigates, 5 corvettes, and 6 submarines. Frigates are your main multi-purpose ships, good for escorts, patrol, and air defense. Corvettes are smaller, more suited for coastal operations. And submarines? Quiet and deadly, in theory, but we'll get into that later. Technologically, these ships are pretty advanced. But strategically, not so much. Germany's navy is built for the Baltic and North Sea, not for projecting power across Europe, let alone globally. Now look at France, the UK, and Italy. All three have larger fleets, plus heavy hitters Germany doesn't. Destroyers, aircraft carriers, helicopter assault ships, and marine infantry. Germany has none of those. It also can't deploy ground forces by sea, because it has no landing ships. And as for those 6 submarines, only 1 or 2 are usually operational at a time, thanks to part shortages and long maintenance cycles. Painful. To be fair, Germany is trying to fix this. It ordered 6 new submarines, 5 more corvettes, and 6 new frigates to replace the older ones. But if it wants to become Europe's top conventional military power, the Navy remains a serious weak spot. So, that's the current state of the German military. And honestly, we've barely scratched the surface. We haven't even talked about drones, intelligence, or the fact that Germany's infrastructure is so outdated, it would struggle to move military gear across the country in a crisis. But I think you get the general idea. The Bundeswehr is not in a good shape, and there's a lot of work to do. And there are major hurdles. First, yes, money. But money isn't the biggest issue. Germany has deep enough pockets to fund this. What it really needs is a cultural shift. Because right now most Germans aren't ready to fight for their country. The Bundeswehr isn't exactly well respected and is not seen as an attractive career. And if things are going to change, some form of conscription is probably necessary. Then there's political will. Sure, Merz and the CDU want Germany to rearm, but their coalition party, the SPD, still remains wary of projecting military power. And without unity on this issue, big changes will be hard to push through. And finally, bureaucracy. Procurement is super slow. Germany didn't even manage to spend its full defense budget last year. And that's ridiculous. The whole system needs to be simplified, fast. Here's what I think. I think it's a good thing that Germany is rearming. We need Europe's largest economy to step up and protect the continent. And if Germany can overcome these obstacles, the mindset, the politics, and the bureaucracy, then yes, I think it can become Europe's strongest conventional army, especially on land. But it will take time, no earlier than probably 2030 or even later. But here's what really frustrates me. All the foreign, non-European gear. Billions are going to the US for F-35 fighter jets. Couldn't we have looked at the much cheaper Sweden's Gripen or other European options? And then there's air defense. Billions more to Israel and the US. This is exactly why France refused to join the Sky Shield initiative. Not enough investment in the European industry. And honestly, I agree. Buying American here and there is fine, but the bulk of the money should go to our own defense companies, to build our own European capability and independence. Anyway, that's my take. And honestly, that's how I try to shop in my own life too. Did you know that 70% of top-selling household brands in European supermarkets are owned by US companies? Yeah, I'd love to see that number come down a bit. That's why I really like this new app called BrandSnap, and it's actually kind of genius. You just go into a store, snap a picture of any product, say a bottle of Coke, and it tells you where it's from and shows you European alternatives. In this case, maybe Fritz Cola from Germany instead. And it's not just big brands. I even tried it on a random soy sauce I found, and it worked. The app can recognize basically any product, and is built around a database managed by Go European, a non-profit that tracks and promotes European-made goods. And yes, the app itself is European too. You can download it completely for free using my link below. And if you feel like supporting the project and this channel, there's an optional donation feature inside the app. A portion goes to the non-profit Go European, another to the app creators, and the rest helps creators like me keep doing what we do. Bottom line, if you want to buy more European, support our economy, and just make smarter shopping choices, BrandSnap makes it ridiculously easy. Links in the description, give it a try. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you to our presidents, Jan, Schauke, Christian, Peter, HGVD, Unite Europe, Stefan, and Mr. Probot. See you in the next video.